Good. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Staten Island Borough Board budget consultation. So our meeting was technically, we had a morning session, so it's adjourned. So we don't need to start all over again and do the pledge and everything. We did that this morning, and we will hold all of our housekeeping items until the end of the meeting. So we can just get everybody going and then on their way. So first up, we have the Grace Foundation. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy. This is Debbie from the Grace Foundation. Just in case, I'll give you a little background. I think everybody knows, but maybe not knows about the Grace Foundation. We are at 460 Borough. We've been part of the community for about 25 years and growing strong. The reason why it started 25 years ago by parents that are still on our board is because at the time when their children were diagnosed with autism, there really wasn't a place for them to go to socialize, to be empowered, and to be part of a group that was accepted. So with that being said, 25 years later, as you know, our population is growing strong. And we still supply services for those with for respite, which is after school services. Day have where at 21 the kids age out of high school, and sometimes they really are not accepted into college. And there's a place for us to go to teach them job readiness, day-to-day volunteering. We have ComHab, we have weekend, we have so much for these kids to do. But unfortunately, as they grow, we have to figure out what to do with our growing audience as well. And our kids that really want to work, we're realizing that the rate of employment for kids with disabilities is not growing, it's shrinking. And so what we decided at Grace Foundation is to bring opportunities back to Grace instead of us trying to find the opportunities for them on the outside. If you flip through, I've talked about some of the things we're doing with our kids. One of them is Dan on the Street video series. When they go out to various restaurants, they visit the restaurants, they get to learn how to cook, to mingle, to learn a trade with our local chefs. What we found is that they love to cook and they love to eat, so we decided to buy our own Grace on Wheels food truck. And I'm sure everybody has seen it last year. We debuted it last year. Beautiful truck with all of the symbols. The kids get to learn how to cook. We're trying to still figure out the staple and what they're great at. We'll let you know in April what it is. We're putting out a new menu. We're out there for the entire community to just call us because they're there and they want to help. But with that being said, of course, it needs funding. It needs to, you still need the equipment, training. There's so much to be involved with this truck, and the supplies are never ending, and the equipment and everything else. But we also need a kitchen commissary within our grounds so that during the time they're on the food truck, they're also learning how to cook within a kitchen that replicates the food truck. So we're actually creating a kitchen commissary within Grace Foundation. So we have a deep fryer, we have the ovens, we have the refrigerator. So when they go to learn with our chef, everything is the same exact setup as it is on the food truck. So if their job is to learn how to chop celery, they're chopping celery. To make chicken cutlets, they're making it. To make any kind of sauces or salad dressings, they're learning how to do that, which creates jobs for them. So we're hoping down the road that we could create our own salad dressing or something that is unique to Grace and to our kids that they could be proud of. So that's another project we're working on. And we're also trying very hard to grow our outdoor garden greenhouse. We're on greens where our wildlife loves to eat everything that we plant, right? We're on the green belt, so we're trying to overcome and figure out how to do that. Everything was, if you could see the picture, was out and exposed, and 2 days later you go outside and everything was gone. So we're trying to cover all that with temporary greenhouse structures so that our kids could not just do it for a season, they could do it for the entire year and plant seasonal vegetables and to be out there and learn how to actually take all their food, farm to table and to work that way. So just to see the look on their face when it's a simple process of, planting a tomato seed and when you watch a tomato grow, is something that is worth noting. You know, I really do believe that. So we're trying to put this all together to have this whole culinary experience for them, because when we ask them what they love to do, it's universal. It's cooking, it's socializing, it's mingling, and it's something you could do and you could carry with you. So if they don't get a job at a restaurant or with us or somewhere else, it's something they could actually keep with them as a trade to do every day, and to feel empowered and to be part of a community that, you know, we all love to eat and to mingle. So as we grow, so does our day hab. And our day hab right now is about 50 participants. We have to make van runs that make sense. So we pick up kids from the North Shore to the South Shore to, to east to west, and we have to figure out, block out to pick up each group that makes sense. So you have to pick them up in groups of 8 or 10. With that, we need a van. So, we just bought one van, we're looking to buy another van, because we can't accept any participant in if we can't get them on a van run. It's part of the day hab budget where transportation has to be supplied. In order to supply it, you need a DSP or 2 DSPs to be in that van with 8 additional kids, and then you have to reroute and figure out how to reroute their transportation. So that's where we're at now. I can't say it's not going to grow, it's going to continue to grow. What we're looking at now are kids at 21 that are now with us at 31 and sometimes 41, and we have to sort of split that group up. But you really can't do the same thing at 40 years old that you can do at 20 years old. A lot of our kids go out and they're helping the community, they're sweeping, they're doing other things, but as they're getting, I don't want to say 40 years old because that would make me ancient, but like, it's just
different interests.
It is, it's different interests, and you can't expect someone that's 21 to do the same thing with a disability that's 40, because life changes and that's what happens. So we need to expand our day hab, we need to expand our vans. This is just the nature of what we do. And then finally, something new for our younger program. We are working with the Beanie Foundation on a hockey initiative, and we are looking to do a 10 to 12 week program with the Beanie Foundation and other people that are interested to be part of the hockey team. It's something never done with our audience before. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we're hoping for the best, and if it works out nicely, we could actually think about Special Olympics down the road. So that's what we have going on at the Grace Foundation. That's part of the funding that we need. One extra thing that just came on our lap that is going to be exciting. Health and Hospitals would like us to run in their Seaview campus a cafe. So it's in the senior, it's in the nursing home. It's empty. They came to us to sign a lease, and then we'll be running their cafe Monday through Sunday. But it needs some equipment, and it needs a little TLC, but our kids will be able to work there every single day from like 8 in the morning till 2. We'll have different shifts. So we're hoping to get that off the ground in April. So that's what's happening at the Grace Foundation.
I have a question. The Dan on the Street video.
Yeah.
So the funding, what does that entail? Because, Borough President funding is different than City Council funding. Like,
Yes.
we can't pay salaries
Right.
and things like that.
It's just basically for the video, transportation, it's to produce the video, to buy, because it's a package with our media group. We may be changing that up a little bit, but it's just to buy the ads, to do, to hire the videographer, to produce the entire package together.
Do any of the other members of the board have any questions? All right. Oh, go ahead, Deb.
Where will this cafe be located in?
It's
Main
the main entrance of Seaview. It's the nursing home, so you walk in, there's the garage. But we do have a back entrance, so we could actually have people coming in from the side. We could do deliveries. So it's the main entrance of Seaview Nursing
Main
Home.
entrance,
Yes.
so it would be like the lobby.
The Robichuk building, yes.
Robichuk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We could use it.
They have nothing going on right now. There's no
There's
food for anyone. So
There used to be a little luncheon or something
Right.
there years ago. That's great.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you
Much
for all you
appreciated.
do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving right along. Next up, we have Richmond County
thank you, Marie and Brooke, for inviting me, and board members. Welcome. Glad to report that most of the snow is gone. I'm not talking about snow, I have no idea. But anyway, I founded the Richmond County Orchestra 28 years ago. That doesn't sound impressive, but when you think it's 2 years away from 30, it sounds more impressive, right? Anyway, so we're going strong. We perform, the thing about the Richmond County Orchestra is that we make sure you move all over the island. So we go to, different, we make sure we go to the, we have like 3 council districts on Staten Island, right? So we make sure we do concerts in each one, and free concerts, So so we're out at Richmond Town, we do Richmond Town every year. We do the Travis Day Parade, we do 4th of July Parade, where over 10,000 people see us, and quite a few people get a chance to see us. Same thing with Richmond Town. And the orchestras are fantastic groups. They're all professional musicians. We pay everybody. And they've done, in addition to playing at like the Snug Harbor's Music Hall, which has been our home for many, 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 many years, at least 25 years. We also played at the St. George Theater several times, been asked to perform there. But we've also performed off the island, like at Carnegie Hall. Yes, we performed at Carnegie Hall just before the pandemic, just before the shutdown. And we were also hired by the Guggenheim Museum to perform there, and Washington Square Park for Garibaldi's 200th bicentennial. I don't know if you know anything about Garibaldi, but we have the Garibaldi Museum on Staten Island. Most of the Italians know that Antonio Meucci was a true inventor of the telephone, not Alexander Graham Bell, but that's another story. At any rate, so right, I think Congress has finally agreed to those things. Anyway, each year we service over 150,000 people who see our productions either directly or indirectly. Now, each of our concerts are filmed by Staten Island Community Television, so folks who don't get a chance to see us, face to face, get a chance to watch us there. And those are like aired over and over again. So the tally, I guess that's quite high, so we're very, very, very happy to have that. And then, as I said before, we go to each borough, so we see people at each borough. We're expanding our more mid-island. We're going to be starting a series at St. Christopher's School and St. Christopher's Church, which is mid-island. We already do the JCC, which is just on the border of the 49th and the 50th Council District. But it is in the 50th. So we'll be there again. We've been there several years. We did it there on March 22nd, featuring Tali. She's 11 years old now. She's going to be playing the Grieg piano concerto. So the concert's called Glorious Grieg. Okay.
In the church or in the, I'm sorry, the questions come later.
Okay. All right, so that'll be at the JCC in March. That's we said we perform all over. We've also expanded to the Little Victory Theater, way out in Travels, that's just a new venue. And we do sort of like more intimate shows. We can't bring the whole orchestra there, but we feature individual artists, so it gets a chance for the orchestra members to like show a different side of themselves to the audience rather than the group dynamics, more individually specified, and to get a chance to wear provocative uniforms if they want. That's up to them. But the title of the show is Provocative Performance Night, so you can use your imagination. That's what we did. Okay, so anyway, but it was lots of fun, and we sold out all the shows there, so that was really great. Because most of the time, a non-for-profit organization, we lose money, right? Most of the time, because we have more expenses than we have income, right? So that's usually the case, which is why I'm here saying, send us some money. Okay, so what else can I tell you? Okay, so we've done the Conference House, we've done Richmond Town, we've done South Meadow at Snug Harbor. We do concerts at Snug Harbor for many years, but we've recently started a free series in South Meadow. So that was also fun. We're hoping to continue that every year. Also, 6,000 students per year are impacted directly through our Keeping It Free for Kids programs. So these are specific programs. We work one-on-one or in small groups with kids, student musicians who can't afford music lessons, basically, okay? So, for many, many years, we've been working with the Bryan Heights Reformed Church Youth Ensemble, with Yvette Washington Wigley. When we first started the orchestra 28 years ago, she was our principal violist, but she also founded this youth orchestra, which is really great. And we do a side-by-side student mentoring program with them, where we send coaches to the kids. It's a 10-week or 6-week program, and they work with, Yvette asks us for certain musicians, and then we send them instrumentalists, and they work on with the kids. And then we put them, and then at a certain point, they come in and actually rehearse with the orchestra. We set them, we call it side-by-side program. We literally set them side-by-side with professional musicians, so they get on-the-job training, and they also get to perform in a concert. Okay, so they get public performance, and the kids always enjoy that. So these kids are like, preteen, most of them. And also we have, thanks to Councilmember Hanks, we're doing a program at Curtis High School, CASA program, where we work with kids. We've been doing that for like 7 or 8 years now, so that's a wonderful program. We reach out to more and more kids. We're also reaching out this year to Susan Wagner High School. They'll be working with us on a program in May at St. Christopher's Church. They'll be joining us for that. Okay, so a lot of outreach with young people in the community, and what else do we do? Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, so all this costs money, but basically we have a lot of costs that are incurred every year, and they involve like expenses for liability insurance. So our board members are all, worried about being sued, but they are. We have like over $2 million worth of liability insurance that we buy every year. So the money goes toward there. Tax preparation, we're on all our taxes, state and federal. So we have a CPA who makes sure our books are in order and everything is filed on time and everything. And if issues come up, which they often do, we can resolve them relatively quickly. But here again, it costs money, right? So the money's going toward that. Our publicity, we want to make sure everyone hears about the concerts. So we have a publicist. I don't know if you know Mary Lou Montalvo, some of you may know about LMN. She's our publicity person, has been for many years, and she's wonderful. We get a story in the advance, and she publicizes it throughout the borough, and in addition to other boroughs. And we even from time to time have people from other boroughs coming in to see our concerts. So it's kind of fun. Let's see what else. Sheet music, of course. We're still using sheet music. Some of the musicians use iPads more and more. I wish more of them would, because sheet music is heavy to lug around, but I'm keeping it shape. So sheet music costs, accounting fees. I already said that. Program design, printing, and postage. We still, in addition to doing email blasts, we have over 4,000 number email blasts. We also still do postcards, and you have to design them and do that. So we still do that for folks who don't email. And then let's see, orchestra contractors' fees, recording, space rental, right? Space for rehearsals and concerts. That's another cost, additional costs that Borough President funding helps cover for us, so we can keep going, expanding, reaching kids, and working with the kids. And what else can I say? Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Okay,
Okay, good, thank you.
moving
Thank you
right
very much.
along. Next, we have New York Center for Interpersonal Development. Mike?
Hello, everyone. Good to be with you again. Good to be with these incredible helpers of Staten Island and beyond. Thank you so much for seeing us. I am Michael DeVito, NICED's Executive Director. Candace Gonzalez, our CEO, sends her regards. If you don't know, NICED is your mediation center. So if you live and work in Staten Island, you have access to free conflict management services. One of the best kept secrets in all the world, perhaps. That's not all we do, but that's not all. We are serving about 12,000 New Yorkers a year at this point throughout Staten Island, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. About 80% of those people are on Staten Island. Our primary population are young people who are at Promise. We're partnered with just about all of the city agencies, do a lot of work in the public schools. We're in community schools, we're in learning to work programs, we're in pathways to graduation. We are doing summer youth employment, youth build. We are doing canvassing in the North Shore, on the North Shore, helping people in crisis and in violence interruption work. We partner with the Department of Probation, doing several types of exiting programs for young people. There's a lot going on. I could probably go on about it forever. I'm grateful to the council members who continue to support NYSID each year, providing us with the essential resources that we need to do a lot of that work and supporting that work. We're grateful. And also to the borough president for his continued support and helping us with, sometimes it feels like the oddest thing. So last year, it was two impressive things. One, we were able to get 2 very much needed generators that helped us put on movies in Mahoney Park over the weekends to keep young people out of trouble and giving them something to do. And more importantly, about 20 of these, because I couldn't carry the generators here to show you, about 20 of these, which are some high-end chargers that allow you to, depending on your device, charge your device on the go. These were essential items that our outreach workers used day in and day out as they traveled around Staten Island throughout the summer, doing check-ins with our young people who were at internships throughout July and August. Why this is important is because you would think that our program dollars, the granted dollars, would be able to afford things like this, and they really don't. With rising personnel costs and other essential items that we need because they are required, can we afford a charger all the time? We usually can't, but the borough president's help allowed us to do that. So it made 20 people's lives that much easier. It meant that they weren't standing at the bus stop or at the ferry trying to plug in their cell phones so that they could get a charge. And it was vital to our efforts in making sure that our services are streamlined and that we're really able to move about and help kids, because that is really what it is all about. So we're grateful for that continued support, and we hope that if the year goes the way that we hope, that there will be some additional support so that we can figure out how to best streamline honor services in the years to come. Thanks so much.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, where can I get that little gadget?
It's a good one. Yeah. You can take a picture of it afterwards.
Okay, moving right along. Next up is Northfield Community LDC. Kathleen.
Thanks. Thankful to be here again this year, and I thank the Borough President's Office and the City Council for ongoing support. Kathleen Bielsa from Northfield Community LDC. Our office is in Port Richmond, but we do serve the entire borough. We are the Staten Island Federal Weatherization Program, free of charge. Whether you own, you rent your home, we can improve the energy efficiency in your home as long as you're income eligible, and also do some health and safety upgrades as well. As a HUD-certified housing counseling agency, we serve the entire Staten Island as well, and we provide critical home repairs with the funding that we get from the state. It's usually roofs and front steps that are crumbling. And economic and community development, we work on, we focus in Port Richmond and the North Shore, where we collaborate with stakeholders in the community on a variety of different things from time to time. Our clients are typically families or individuals that are below 80%, below 60% of the area median income. Recent changes in the New York City Home First program, and that's a down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers, $100,000 to first-time home buyers. They can earn up to 120% of the area median income, so we've had some closings on homes where people were above the 80%. That's relatively new. And we support residents experiencing a variety variety of housing needs or problems, including foreclosure due to unexpected life events, losing a job, health reasons. Certainly we help seniors with limited incomes to do home repairs that allow them to stay in their homes. We also through counseling help people get additional entitlements that might also make their household a little more stable. We help those that are striving to purchase a home to achieve long-term stability for their families. And in a typical year, we implement free energy efficiency and health and safety improvements in 100 homes. That's either, again, owners or renters. Our Beyond Weatherization program, it allows us to replace roofs, crumbling steps, windows, heating systems, really repairs that can't be done under the weatherization program, and that is owner occupied for low-income residents. We completed 20 homes, and we have now funding for an additional 30 homes, and we're working on that. As a HUD certified counseling agency, we assist approximately 200 residents annually. Again, that's home buying, foreclosure prevention, resources to maintain their housing stability. A lot of times we help people that are in tax arrears, any really kind of housing need or problem. And beyond helping the individuals and families that we work with, we can also address the Borough community with trends. Like we were selected as the New York State point person. If there's an event that triggers flood financing, we would be plugged in as the state program for Staten Island. And currently, another trend is the high cost of buying a home, and home prices are reportedly up to like $720,000. North Shore a little bit less than that. But even with the Home First grant of $100,000, typical home buyer we're finding is paying $3,500 a month in mortgage. And so we're looking at ways to create home buyer opportunities for people that are still below the 80% of the area median income. And we're looking at the CLT, Community Land Trust model. So with that, for example, a house might cost $600,000. The Community Land Trust can buy the land. The home buyer buys the house only, and that would be a significant savings. Be lots of strings attached so that when the homeowner sells the house, they would have a limited increase in their equity, so that the house would still then be affordable for the next home buyer. And it's just a way. It's like another model. There's co-ops, townhouses. This is just another model for allowing people to build equity and own a home and have it be affordable to many more people. And unlike the $100,000 subsidy, however, the CLT requires a deeper initial investment, but it would ensure the home stays affordable for many more years. This allows the potential to build wealth for low-income residents, and we're currently seeking some private philanthropy or public investment to allow us buy our first homes. It would be recycled, refinanced with city and state programs, and then it frees up the initial investment to buy the next house. It's viable. It's something that happens in other communities, and we'd like to see that get established here in Staten Island. So those are the types of things that we're working on, and securing funding to maintain our office is always a challenge every year. We're always waiting for July 1st to make sure we're still funded. So we do appreciate the funding that the Borough President and the City Council members bring to our agency to help us keep going. And we look forward to continuing the collaboration, and we always appreciate the support. Thanks.
I have a question. So I know the weatherization and some of the other programs have income requirements. Now, what about for the foreclosure programs and the tax?
We really don't, that's as the HUD certified, I would say even though there's no income test to get our counseling, we are typically seeing people that are in some kind of financial distress for that. For first-time home buyer, for foreclosure. For a first-time home buyer, people might talk to us, and if they're eligible for the grants, we do, talk to them. I'd say, for instance, in the past, year or so, we've had 10 closings. So it's not like a large number of our clients that we help are above 80% of the area median income, but with that new program, it is something that we do.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Elena.
For those that are eligible for the $100,000 deposit,
Right.
is that considered income to them?
I don't believe it is. I know that question has come up, and I believe the answer is no.
Anybody else? Okay, moving right along. Next, we have Community Agency for Senior Citizens. The floor is yours, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having us for this opportunity. I'm Aldana Pellick. I'm CASC CEO President, and with me is Patrice Mullennan. She's our Chief Development Officer. Thank you to City Council. Thank you to Borough President for your dedication to Staten Island and for your ongoing support to CASC and to everybody here clearly on Staten Island. I just want to, for those of you who may not be familiar with CASC, I'll give a little bit of a brief description. We've been around since 1974 with the same mission of keeping older adults home, aging safely in their home, in their communities. So we have a variety of programs that enable and empower older adults to do so, to age in their homes, and that is case management, which is one of our largest programs, where we work with homebound older adults 60 and older in coordinating services such as home delivered meals and home care and housekeeping and other needs that we address along the way to just ensure that, again, our clients are safe in their home. We have friendly visiting program, which addresses social isolation. We have elder justice, keeping clients safe and educating the community in general about elder abuse and ways to prevent it and help those in need. We have New York Connects program, which is our only program that does not have an age requirement, whereas for all of our other programs, you have to be 60 and older to qualify for the program. And New York Connects provides benefits, entitlements, resources, education in the community to anybody, regardless of age, regardless of ability. We also have our transportation program, which provides transportation through a local car service to medical appointments primarily, and then also shopping and other needs are addressed through this program as well. We have 2 older adult centers, formerly known as Neighborhood Senior Centers, New Lane and Cassidy Falls, and they provide breakfast, lunch, and a bunch of activities. Everything that I mentioned so far is funded primarily through the Department for the Aging, and then we have a Crime Victims Assistance Program, which is funded through the Office of Victim Services through the state. All of these programs meet sort of like the basic needs and what they allow to meet. And sometimes we see some, not necessarily discrepancies, but when you're thinking budget, a lot of these programs, a lot of these contracts are designed for 3-year terms, and then sometimes they get extended for another 3 years with the same budget, which creates a little bit of financial pressure and burden on the providers. They don't address inflation, they don't address the ongoing changing needs. So that's why, and let me not also forget to mention that funding for seniors currently is less than half of 1% of New York City's total budget, and I think that speaks for itself. So the support of the Borough President, the support of City Council is very critical to us because it allows us to be able to supplement the needs that come through our programs, and it also allows us to give a little bit of good quality of life, not just serve somebody breakfast, but a lot of City Council funding allows us to do trips outside of Staten Island, allows us to add culturally tailored programming for our centers. It allows us to take care of the facility itself and buy kitchen equipment, maybe, clean the floors or paint, and offer a more welcoming environment for our members. It also allows us to purchase certain necessary supplemental supplies, such as certain devices, assistive devices, maybe a microwave for somebody so that they can reheat their home delivered meals. It allows us to do things that the contractual budget limits us in some way. Let me see what else. I do want to point out just a couple of different things that we are able to do, that we have done, I should say. For example, with our president funding, in the last couple of years, our older adult center members have selected they wanted to do a combined event between New Lane and Cassidy Coles, which has been so amazing to witness. They did in 2024, they did an Anson Park picnic, then in 25, they had a glitter brunch that they loved at the Staten, and they want to do that again this year. And it may seem simple to some of us, and it may seem, oh, they're just going to a brunch and dancing. That creates such community connection. It allows those that don't get to do this often to dress up and go and celebrate life, instead of, just waiting at home for a meal or going to the center to have a meal. It allows them to do what a lot of us take for granted and what they are limited in doing. I want to mention that a lot from Councilmember Hanks, our centers are both of our centers, because they fall in her district, they're very well supported and allows for these trips and the kitchen equipment and the class supplies and things like that to purchase. And then we have, through Councilmember Parr's office, we get funding that supports our elder justice program, and it allows us to really increase and enhance our outreach efforts and direct work also. And we get the funding through Borough State Horizon, and it's been great. Sadly, there's a need, an increase in an ongoing need, and we're very grateful for the funding. And then also with Community District 51, we get a lot of we get funding that supports really the clients that reside in that area, and for most of the needs are really the supplemental supplies, like I mentioned before, like a walker or a recliner or something that allows an individual to remain in their home independently. Thank you for your support. We look forward to further partnership and collaboration. And I always, everywhere I present, I mention that aging is universal, right? And a lot of us, I think, think, oh, we got it under control. And, even myself as a social worker, I can think of all the planning that I've learned over the years, right? And I know exactly what to do when that time comes, and I know exactly when to get that chairlift. You just really don't know. We see it day in and day out. You don't know. You could have it all under control, and something changes cognitively. Something changes with your mobility. So it's different even for our clients, that we try to educate them, try to prepare them, and plan ahead. Sometimes life just throws a curveball at them, and you just don't know who really needs help. It's not always the obvious. So, thank you for your support.
Thank you. I just have a quick question about the transportation. Is that like every day, or?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
8 to 5, 9 to 5.
Okay, and is it like, for individuals, or is it like a, group trip to like ShopRite or something like that, or can they request like an individual ride?
It's individual rides,
Okay.
yeah. The group we did when we used to have the buses, but that, we don't want to have that contract.
Okay.
So this is individual, to wherever you need to go for your medical appointment. As long as it is within Staten Island, we can accommodate them. All of this stuff that I mentioned here is free. There are suggested contributions sometimes for, like at the centers for the meals and stuff, but there is no fee for anything. And with the transportation, we do also have, we are able to accommodate somebody who may be on dialysis or some sort of like cancer treatment. We can't go, let's say, like 52 weeks out of, the whole year, but we could do like in increments of like maybe 6 6 weeks to 8 weeks at a time, then they have to like kind of pause and get back on the program. And it works out.
Anybody else have any questions for?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask as well, Marie. Do you find that there are many residents on the South Shore who are also utilizing the
Yeah.
service as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
We have, sometimes almost 1,000 rides a month. And that I think speaks in volume.
Sure. You said that at one point you were the Staten Island provider, right? You had that contract at one point.
We had the buses at one point, cast buses, if anybody, you still kind of see them if they didn't name them. But we did not apply for that contract again because the way it was designed, it financially didn't make sense for cast. This was back in 2023, I want to say. The way the contract was designed, it was just like a financial liability really for the provider. If you didn't have additional funds, and cast at the time and still doesn't have, this chunk of money waiting there that you can utilize anywhere you want. We rely solely on the contracts for the purpose of operating the program. So, between the cost of buses, we also have non-supervisory roles within CASP also are part of 1199 union. So we have a high fringe cost. So between all the costs, that just didn't make sense. So we opted for the individual part.
Okay, nice, thank you.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have Jessica, who is going to be giving testimony on behalf of the Staten Island Culturals, including her own Smith Harbor.
Thank you all so much. Good afternoon. Very pleased to be here. My name is Jessica Baker-Vidor, and I'm the president and CEO at Snug Harbor Cultural Center in Botanical Garden. And I am also the Staten Island vice chair for the Cultural Institutions Group. So I'm here today. I'm going to be speaking actually on behalf of 6 institutions. So please forgive me because I am going to read my notes a little bit because I want to make sure I cover my colleagues in the way that they would like to be represented. But I'm here today representing the 6 institutions that make up Staten Island's Cultural Institutions Group members. So that's Historic Richmond Town, the Noble Maritime Collection, the Staten Island Children's Museum, Staten Island Museum, and the Staten Island Zoo, and of course, Snug Harbor. Together we form what we believe is the cultural backbone of Staten Island, and we provide essential education, recreational, and cultural services to our borough and beyond. Our institutions collectively welcome over 800,000 visitors annually to Staten Island, offering programs and experiences that engage children, families, students, and lifelong learners. We're not just a place to visit, we are community hubs that foster learning, connection, and cultural preservation. We offer everything from hands-on science exhibits at the Children's Museum to immersive historical experiences at Historic Richmond Town and the Noble Maritime Collection, from wildlife conservation at the zoo to the vibrant arts and environmental programs at Snug Harbor and the Staten Island Museum. We together help build communities that ensure the higher quality of life for our neighbors and community members in Staten Island. And we also believe that we attract new businesses and residents to want to come and be a part of the Staten Island community. In fiscal year 27, our need for sustained funding is really more critical than ever. Our institutions are facing rising operational costs and are challenged to keep up with inflation when compensating our staff, which does affect our retention of staff and recruitment of new staff members. Yet we do continue to provide high-quality programs that serve over 100,000 school children annually. We offer free and low-cost events to thousands of families and create more than 100 full-time jobs that support our local economy. We believe we are key players in the city's affordability agenda by making affordable cultural opportunities available to our community. We respectfully request and urge the Borough Board to support robust investment in New York City culture. For every $1 invested by the city, $3 is generated in economic impact by the cultural sector. The cultural sector contributes 13% of New York City's GDP, and yet the Department of Cultural Affairs receives less than 1/4 of 1% of the city's budget. In recognition of the fiscal challenges that we're facing this year, which we certainly understand, our cultural sector is trying to make a very modest request this year, and that is that we would like to baseline, there's a $30 million investment that was made post-adoption in the budget last year that essentially stabilized the cultural community in New York City. We are also advocating to provide a cost of living increase to our organization so we can ensure that our employees maintain and support a growing salary to retain them, and that they can continue to deliver for Staten Islanders and for all New Yorkers the programs we deliver. And then we also are advocating, just again, to continue to push for capital funding reform and the execution of projects that are stalled. We have been, all of us, received generous support from the Borough President and from City Council, but turning those dollars into active projects is very, very difficult and is really an area of improvement that we would all like to advocate to see the city work on. Snug Harbor, Historic Richmond Town, and the Noble Maritime Collection, Staten Island Children's Museum, Staten Island Museum, and Staten Island Zoo, and our programs group colleagues and peers are all vital resources to our borough and our city. We provide essential services to children, to families, to seniors of all income levels every day. We drive economic development in our communities, and we attract new businesses, residents, and tourists. And we promote lifelong learning in arts, history, and environmental science. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I'm sort of reading to you the document that you have in front of you, but I would like to just quickly go through the highlights from each of the organizations that I'm representing. I'm really excited to share that this year, 2026, fiscal 27, is Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Gardens' 50th anniversary since we opened in 1976. And we are rolling out this year some new positioning of our organization to broaden and embrace the entirety of the campus of Snug Harbor in how we promote and talk about our work. We are positioning ourselves moving forward as a culture park, which is a collective of stakeholders and a center important institution. We believe that Snug Harbor offers a blend of what is artful, human, and cultural with nature, space, and beauty, and community. We believe that all of this is for the naturally curious of Staten Island, and excuse me, I lost my place. And Snug Harbor is a 501c3 organization, nonprofit organization. We are also a Smithsonian affiliate, and we're a member of the New York City Cultural Institutions Group. And today we're really aiming to provide a more culturally connected, thriving Staten Island. And I will say this year, just off the record, off the script, we've made some very significant requests because it is our 50th anniversary year. We've made a very large capital request for moving along our master plan for Snug Harbor to invest in the oldest building on our campus, which is the main hall, the home of the Newhouse Center for Contemporary Art, and one of the truly most beautiful buildings on the campus. That is our focus of our capital request this year. We also have some very exciting initiatives that we're putting forward for operational funding, which includes a joint public history initiative in collaboration with the Staten Island Museum and the Noble Maritime Museum, and also a joint effort of New York City Botanical Gardens focused on improving the accessibility of our campuses for visitors with mobility challenges and of all abilities. So those are just some of the highlights of our request this year. Historic Richmond Town serves as Staten Island's largest history museum and living history village. They preserve and activate centuries of community history across a 100-acre campus. They engage people in the dynamic story of Staten Island through preservation, educational exhibitions, and public programs that connect the past to the present. And as we look forward to the future, Historic Richmond Town's goals focus on strengthening their role as a neighborhood-based cultural anchor, expanding access to free and low-cost programming, deepening partnerships with Staten Island schools and community groups, and continuing to provide paid performance, exhibition, and teaching opportunities for independent artists whose work reflects the borough's unique creative voice. Through an active strategic planning process, Richmond Town is aligning their interpretive vision, capital priorities, and earned income strategies to ensure that long-term sustainability while maintaining the largest collection of the oldest buildings in New York State, over 60,000 artifacts and landscapes entrusted to their care. Continued city investment in fiscal '27 for Historic Richmond Town will allow Historic Richmond Town to remain a steward of place, a platform for local artists, and a vital economic and cultural engine for Staten Island. The Noble Maritime Collection is Staten Island's newest cultural institutions group member, which we're very excited and happy for them. Celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, the museum presents exhibitions and programs honoring the working waterfront of New York Harbor and the tradition of artist John Noble, while preserving Robbins Reef Lighthouse and the history of Sailor Snug Harbor, a former mariner's retirement home that, of course, gave us the beautiful campus that we have. In 2025, the Noble opened We Who Are Weary, a people-focused look at sailors of color who lived at Snug Harbor. And they will present Oceanus, a guest-curated exhibition of sea-inspired work by 4 local artists. In fiscal '25, the museum welcomed more than 15,000 visitors, including 3,500 school children and 4,500 public program participants. The museum serves a diverse student population, 85% children of color, 17% in special education, 77% economically disadvantaged, and 83% from Title I schools who receive free programming. Education offerings include maritime careers in New York Harbor, musical voyage around the world, and a printmaking class inspired by John Noble. The museum this year is seeking funding to sustain programs of all three local council districts. And housed in a landmark building restored through volunteer efforts, the museum has a fully funded facade and window reconstruction project in the bidding phase and is requesting additional fiscal '27 capital support from DCLA, the Borough President, and the City Council delegation for an urgent chiller and air handling replacement project for their air conditioning. The Staten Island Children's Museum is a deeply valued community resource, typically serving more than 106,000 children and families annually, both on-site and through school and community partnerships. Drawing audiences from across Staten Island and neighboring communities within Congressional District 11, the museum is a destination for families and a trusted partner to educational institutions, advancing early childhood readiness through hands-on creative learning that makes arts, STEM, and fine motor skill development accessible and joyful. As the Children's Museum marks its 50th anniversary this year, it's developing a major new interactive exhibit focused on Staten Island and New York City shoreline communities, exploring transportation, geography, climate resiliency, and migration through the perspective of native and invasive species in ways that young children can understand. The Children's Museum is seeking city partnership on 2 additional initiatives: new funding to deliver high-quality arts and STEAM instruction to nearly every child enrolled in a nonprofit or a DOE early childhood classroom on Staten Island, ensuring borough-wide equity in arts education, and capital investment to strengthen the museum's exterior envelope and climate resiliency so this essential city asset remains safe, comfortable, and protected for the families who depend on it. Okay, almost there. Staten Island Museum provides school programs, interdisciplinary exhibitions, and community events related to its history, art, and science collections. Founded in 1881, the museum's collection encompasses over 1 million items spanning art, science, and history that they steward. Staten Island Museum employs 14 full-time and 9 part-time staff to deliver exhibitions, education, and community programs to reach 30,000 daily visitors, including 7,500 community program participants annually. A major focus is Staten Island Museum's school programs that serve 12,000 students, 53% of which are from Title I schools, with STEAM education lessons through field trips, in-school lessons, and CASA programs. Staten Island Museum works with more than 60 community partner organizations, including the Atlas Foundation, NCNW, JCC, the Summer Youth Employment Program, and more. This year, Staten Island Museum is launching a public history gallery that will focus on key moments that shaped Staten Island and highlight Staten Island's contributions to New York City, as well as national history as they commemorate America 250. They seek to strengthen their capacity to serve teachers and students with enhanced lessons about New York City history to meet their curriculum goals through firsthand experiences with primary objects and archival materials in their collections. The museum is underway with planning an innovative STEAM Education Center expansion as a city capital project, which will reactivate a currently vacant landmark building into a 21st century museum experience. Students and visitors of all ages will participate in hands-on STEAM activities interwoven with displays of natural science collections. Staten Island Museum submitted also a fiscal 27 city capital request to cover shortfalls and address more extensive exterior restoration work to ensure the project can move forward. And last but not least, the Staten Island Zoo was the first U.S. zoo to be founded with an educational mission, a guiding principle that underscores their efforts to educate and engage over 175,000 visitors every year. Their specialized exhibits bring guests up close to over 800 animals and 146 species. The zoo cares for over 30 endangered species in a species survival plan, such as their Amur leopards, cotton-top tamarins, and Galapagos tortoises. The zoo's educational programs serve over 50,000 school-aged children annually, and the programs are unique in the borough, incorporating their live animal ambassadors and environmental immersion in nature. The zoo has also earned a designation as a sensory-friendly institution. The zoo and all of us are extremely thankful for the strong support that we receive from everyone on this board. Thank you to the Borough President, the City Council, to the Mayor, and to the Department of Cultural Affairs. And with your continued support, the zoo and all of us will complete their new projects and our new projects and continue to serve our borough. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much for your patience as I shared 6 institutions' reports today. Anybody have any questions?
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move right along. So, you're more than welcome to stay for the next 10 minutes of the meeting, but if you don't want to, I understand everybody's schedules are tight. You can leave, we will not be offended. Moving right along, just for attendance, everybody is present except Community Board 3. Brooke was kind enough to send everybody a copy of the minutes from February. Can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, first, Antoine, second, Brianna. Okay, we did not have any correspondence this month. Does anybody have any old business that they would like to discuss? Any new business that they would like to discuss? Okay, as of this point, we do not have a presentation set up yet for April, but it is kind of early, so we will let you know, depending on if we get a presentation, we'll still stick by what we're doing. No presentation remote, presentation, then we will be in person. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn, please? Anybody? Brianna first, Elena second. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.